Well, obviously on chick, you always want to just catch as much as you can catch. 20 is kind of the bar there. Anything over that, you know, kind of keeps you up there in the top. You know, I was pretty disappointed, honestly, the first day. I just never had that big bite. But I kind of dabbled around a little bit in a lot of the stuff that I was fishing. And the first day was where I learned a lot. Fishing for spawners, you're gonna have some that don't connect. And I have a rule that I never follow up with the same bait. So I would pick up a jig and catch those fish. I mean, it was the same setup as the Classic. You know, the Jason Christie pitch and stick from Falcon, Lou's skipping pitch and reel, 22-pound sunline, spinnerbait setup, Falcon head turner, Lou's hyper mag, half-ounce covert, single Colorado, chartreuse white and blue with a Yum swimming dinger white on the back. And that is, both of those setups are setups that if we go anywhere in the country, like those are the first two that's gonna start on the deck of the boat. A couple of fish the third day and a few fish, or most of my fish the last day on a bladed jig. And the only reason that I felt like I needed to make that switch is a lot of the water had started to clear up and I needed to move the bait a little bit faster. And what the problem was is I wanted to go to a square bill, but there's just so much trash on the bottom and it was picking up trash, so I had to go to that bladed jig, and it was the same setup as the spinnerbait. You know, and I just don't know how today's gonna go. You know, it's getting colder, the water temperature I'm sure has dropped 3 or 4 degrees, supposed to spit snow this morning. I really don't know how the fishing's gonna be. The only good thing that I've noticed is the water is still coming up, and I feel like with that water coming up, it's gonna get those fish, you know, coming to the bank a little more. But I would love to get into that Sunday cut and have a chance to win. You know, be within 2-3 pounds of the leader, and then go out on Sunday, hopefully, and catch a big bag. But we got to worry about Saturday before we can worry about Sunday. I got him that time. Dude, he freaking smoked it. I mean, smoked it. I don't think we're going to have to put a cull tag on him. We're just patiently waiting. I think the fishing's so much more better when that wind blows, especially when it's cold like this. I don't want to be greedy at all. You know, if I never win another event, I've had a great career. I've won more trophies than I probably deserve. But, you know, it's kind of in a hillbilly way. You know, I've eaten top sirloin for a long time, and I got to taste prime rib. And whenever you taste it, you want more and you want more. Do I have more to fish for? Absolutely. I have, you know, number 9, number 2. You know, there was another bay that had just a little pocket in it, and it had 4 or 5 isolated targets, and then there was a rock point. And I'd had a bite in there that I felt like was decent in practice, along with some keepers, you know. But I thought, okay, I can fish that. Hopefully it'll help me a little bit. It'll help. And I literally pull in, put the poles down, make a cast across the rock point, and I have a bite and miss it. And the next cast is one of those that I'll never forget, because when I throw it, I'm like, that's too shallow up there, you know. And I mean, as soon as the bait hit the water, I made a crank. I seen, you know, a 6-pounder get it. And literally, when I boated that fish, the event changed for me, because that day I went from just hoping to make the top 10 to not only having a chance to win on the last day, but also the wheels started turning in there. But, you know, I got so nervous that I put the fish in the boat. I was like, hey, we got to get back. We don't want to be late. I just skipped the other targets. And just got back closer to takeoff. So, you know, that fish right there was probably the fish that changed the event for me. Like I said, not only the weight, but just gave me more ideas going into the last day.
20 pounds, 12 ounces with 57 pounds, 11 ounces. Jason Christie at the guaranteed rate, Bassmaster Elite at Lake Chickamauga.
we're in a great position, third place, just a few ounces back. I really think anything that I catch before lunch is a bonus. Most of my fish been coming, you know, after lunchtime, after it warms up a little bit. You know, it's really kind of tricky for the day. I don't want to fish anything good too early, lose confidence. I don't want to wait too late. The water's 49 degrees. You know, I've seen 61, 62, 63 in practice. And it took a big drop just last night. So, you know, but I still think about some of the bites I had yesterday, how they just crushed my bait. So I think the temperature is going to bother us more than the fish. I'm about to fall down. And that's why you start somewhere you never even fished. Safety first, and he hit way out here. 4. So, you know, there was a stretch of bank that I went to a couple of times in practice, and there would be a local around or a competitor around. I just never got to fish it. And I had fished it a few years ago at another event. And honestly, running up the Wassee, I had a lot of ideas on where I wanted to start. You know, I couldn't make my mind up, and I hit a fog bank, and it was terrible. But anyway, I get through this fog bank, and I open up again, and I hit another fog bank, and I mean, I can't see the river channel buoys, and all of a sudden, you know, I see a boat wave go across, and I knew it was time to pull over. And luckily, I was at that stretch of bank that I was thinking about, and it just made my decision easy. I was like, hey, let's pull over here, let's fish for 30 minutes, let's let the fog lift. And I had fished in the back of that creek the second day and caught a big one. So it was on my list of fish. I probably just wouldn't have started there, but I'm so glad that I did, because once I pulled up to it, it set up perfectly. I mean, with that cold front coming in, it was kind of the first deep water swing coming out. It had some big rocks, it had some docks. And the key was it was shaded for a long period of time, you know, so you could kind of trick them early. Well, trying to feel my toes. My fingers I can't feel. Lost my good gloves yesterday, so that boat ride, and honestly, I haven't fished this bank in practice or in the tournament. Only reason I stopped here was because of the fog. I fished here along 3 or 4 years ago. I mean, it's got the right kind of stuff, that's why I stopped. I've been fishing shallower, but with it being colder, I wanted to start on a little bit deeper stuff. The water really hasn't dropped as much as I thought it would. They're biting, they just want it slow. You know, and everything is coming away from the targets, meaning that when the bait goes by, they're following it. You know, like that one, he was 5 or 6 feet past the dock. The first 2 I caught on the bank were halfway back to the boat, so it's kind of that old slow roll. You just gotta wind it back slow. Just hold. Anything I catch before noon is a bonus the past few days. So we're doing A-okay so far. Fog's so thick you can cut it with a knife. And so I pulled over and just fished a stretch that I fished a few years ago, and it's worked out good. You know, I got a couple of nice fish, and I've had a couple more bites. But they're just not getting the bait good. I think they're spawners. but they don't act like it's cold at all. You know, in the lake that we're on, I mean, those just ain't gonna do you no good. I know it's like, oh, he caught one, but they're gonna have to be 4 and 5 pounders for us to have a chance to win. It's gonna, I mean, like I've never felt so good about a day than I do right now. We may not get another bite, but just the way the conditions are, you just gotta slow roll the bait, you know? And just, I think that's why I missed a couple down through there. I got a little too much pep in my step. Got to going a little fast. But, you know, mainly all week, a lot of my big fish are coming just on these nothing bank, or they, you know, nothing banks. And I think, you know, they're just fish that's wanting to try to spawn a little bit and just get up there. And, you know, a lot of guys this morning are talking about how tough it's going to be. We're just at a time of the year where these fish are starving for sunshine. You know, they want to get up there and shallow as they can and sun before they start spawning. You know, kind of pretend where you think they're going to be at, or guess, I guess is a better word, where you think they're going to be at, and just fish. You know, yesterday late, I pulled into a nothing stretch that had 2 or 3 small bites there. We had to idle out, but you know, I ran in a long ways over 2 foot of water to get to this spot, just a little old rock stretch. And I mean, I caught a 6-pounder in inches of water on nothing. And that's just what they want to do. They want to get up there and get as close as they can to that shallow water, get up there on the bank. That's the good thing about this lake is there's so many fish in it. I'm sure there's guys, you know, that's probably still fishing deep. You know, honestly, the last day I was good because probably 12 out of the 15 fish that I weighed the first 3 days came after lunchtime. And I start that morning and I catch a 4.5 and a 3.5 and a 3. I thought, good night. You know, the closer it gets to weighing, I just need a couple of those 6-pounders. So never lost confidence in what I was doing, and I stayed hooked up. And, you know, I really caught a decent amount of fish the last day. They were just all the same size bucks. I'm hoping that weatherman, what he said is gonna be right, that we're gonna get a little bit of wind. Just a touch this afternoon, about lunchtime. You know, and as it got closer, the clock wound down for day 4. I just thought, hey, we had a good plan. We just, you know, you have to get a big biter too. And those come when you know, you can't go target a 6-pounder. You just have to hope that you cover enough water and get those bites. Baby, that's an exact cast. Yesterday I caught that 6-pounder at the end of the day. I was just, when it threw slack, I was hoping that her big sister had moved in. Go 3 hours without a bite and catch 2 on back-to-back. I haven't looked at him in a while. I don't know if that dude's any bigger than that one or not. You can tell when you fish somewhere that ain't nobody fished. The big thing is just, dude, it's gotten back to being fun. You know what I mean? Like I have a good time. I love competing, and I like to see the look on everybody's face. And I mean that respectfully. Like I love to bounce in that top 10, and that's when it gets fun, you know. And I've missed a few, but to get in that top 10 and look around and know that you have a chance to win, that's just what it's all about. It's kind of like Game 7 of the World Series, you know. That's what I live for, and it's so much fun being out there, having a camera in your boat, and having fans watching and stuff, and just doing, you know, what I love to do.
For the second time in 2022, Christie crushes the competition and becomes an 8-time Bassmaster winner. For the second time in 2022, King Kong Christie crushes the competition. Jason Christie, a Bassmaster Elite Series champion, number 8, and it feels great.
Marathon Peak Performance.